Yep.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Crandall Public Library Board. And the very first thing on the agenda this afternoon is one of our favorite things, and that's staff recognition. So Kathy, I'll turn that over to you.
Okay, well, first I'd like to thank the Friends of Crandall Public Library for supplying the awards themselves, for cutting the checks, which is very kind. I'm glad to see Erica, Stacy, and Todd here to accept their awards virtually. The check is literally going to be in Laura's command tomorrow, so see her. Anyway, first of all, I'm just doing it by alphabetical order. Stacy's been with us for 25 years. She is a principal library clerk in our circulation department, and she is in charge of ordering all our materials after our collection developers select them. And she's really the lieutenant commander of our circulation department. When Sue Lang is not available, our head of circ, Stacy, fills in her big shoes with her big shoes too. So thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. If I knew how to make,
Thank you, everyone.
I'm sure I could make Zoom applaud, but I don't know how to do that. So,
Thank you, everybody.
So, well, next we have Todd. You know, his accomplishments speak for themselves. You all know Todd, but do you know that he's been here 30 years and that he's the founding director of our folk life department? And that's kind of priceless. So thank you, Todd. And you're going to have work to do later in the meeting. So
thank you, Todd.
Next here is Erica Gagne, who is our librarian one and our archivist. She's the kind of employee she's been here 15 years, by the way. She knows how to find things like genealogical things. If you happen to find an ancestor whose name is Joe Smith, she's going to figure out with you which Joe Smith that is. So I'm really quite amazed by her abilities, let alone her ways of mining all the information in our Folk Life Center and archives. I want to congratulate Tony Truesdale for 10 years with the library. She started out as a page. Now she primarily does library clerk duties for our circulation department. And Tony does everything with a giving, open spirit, and she's a real asset to our library. Next is Joe Abronowitz, who is a custodian, and he's been with us 20 years. And I think Joe has many passions, and among which are the library. He is extremely proud of us, as he should be, proud of our facility, and interested in future sustainability for library services in our community. Well, next, Stephanie, who is on the call, has been with us 5 years, our business manager, as you all know. But she's more than just a human calculator. She understands and helps guide us into understanding that our accounts and fiscal practices are ultimately transferred to how we serve our community in the most efficient, most economic, and most direct ways. And I think that is a priceless asset to have for a numbers person. She's more than a numbers person. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate Jimmy Zwart for 15 years of service. He is our morning custodian, and he's sort of our king of clean. When we come in every morning, he's already been working for several hours. He makes sure that staff and patrons are safe and coming into a clean, disinfected building. and he is always on the spot. If you need anything, he's there to help. So I'm glad we can honor and recognize these many, many years of dedication. And I'm just so happy that these folks have chosen to spend their life and their careers with us.
Well said, and I'm sure the board agrees with that. Okay. Public comment. There's anyone from the public around? I don't think so. Correspondence and press. We saw the note you sent today from Sharon Simmons. Was there anything else that I'm missing? We saw
Not that I'm aware of.
We saw, I hope you all saw, well, Michelle sent it to you. You saw the blog. Bob Condon from the Post-Star wrote a beautiful blog about the library. He really, I know, loves the library, and it showed, and I thought it was very good. Windows on the Park, I think was the name of it. Okay, next is the annual report, which you included in today's email, right? Or maybe in Michelle's.
It was in
anyway, we
last
got
week's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just add that, it's relatively self-explanatory, but it does demonstrate that we really did serve our community in this most trying of years. We did a lot of things in spite of, being at half staff, so to speak. The other thing we need to do with this, unless people have some comments, is we do need a formal motion, Barb, to accept the annual report.
Okay. Are there any questions? I hope you've all seen it. Have we ever thought about, and I'm just dreaming, but I'll throw this out there, looking for a sponsor to let us print that in the Post-Star?
Oh, that Post-Star, that's a good idea. I mean, we've certainly had print annual reports
Printed
before.
copies, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about more people.
Or at least
see it.
availability online.
Well, Michelle, I'm hoping you're taking a good note on this one. I think you have a new assignment.
And
I am.
if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I just thought, if I loved your statement in it, Kathy, about the year. And I think it really spoke to the community as it should. And
Does it get posted? Does it get posted on Facebook?
It gets posted on the web.
Website.
On the web?
Yep.
But
And I mean, we can
only
link it
somebody
through,
who uses the library is going to.
Linking to
Yeah.
Facebook would probably be good too.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Can we have a motion to accept the annual report as presented?
I make a motion.
I'll move.
Amy moved and Margaret seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And thanks to everyone who worked on that, by the way. I know it's not just, let's write an annual report and it's finished tomorrow.
The only hard part is I kept wanting to write about Pam retiring, but then was pointed out more than once, she retired in 2021. So
Okay. Department reports. Okay, Gwen is not here, but we
I was going
did.
to the library board meeting. I'm listening to it right now. Is it upstairs? Is it?
Honestly, I don't know where it is.
I don't know. I'll ask. Thanks.
You know where the board meeting is today?
The board meeting,
What?
the library board meeting?
who's talking?
It's Liz.
Oh.
Liz.
Huh.
Hello? Hello? It sounded like someone asking someone
Where
who's
we were.
physically in the library.
Yeah,
Maybe she thought it was a live meeting also,
but
or,
she's also,
Yeah,
but she is logged in.
yeah.
Well,
sorry.
somebody will,
It's my fault. I apologize. I didn't know I wasn't on mute. I thought it was a live meeting as well. So I
oh,
am at the library, but I was late, so I logged in early.
Oh,
okay,
So,
okay.
sorry.
That's okay. We're all good now.
Okay. All right. Department reports. I believe Gwen isn't here, but we did get her report in the board packet. And so no one's reading it or anything, Kathy, correct?
No.
Okay. Jen, is Jen available?
I'm here.
Okay.
Firstly, I just want to say how thrilled everyone is to be back open. It has been such a charge for us. Like, it just feels like we've been recharged. It's just wonderful to have people back in the building. So we're still doing the curbside. We're still getting surprise me requests, which is fantastic. That's kind of what we were hoping would happen. So I thought I collect the statistics every month for Hoopla, and I thought I would kind of take a look at Hoopla to see how the statistics looked while we were on pause and while we were closed to the public. So from mid-March of 2020 through yesterday is when I finished the statistics. And we started Hoopla in 2016, the late February, early March of 2016, and we've had total circulations for that is 62,579. In this period from March 2020 through yesterday, our total circulation accounted for about 46% of everything that we've done from 2016 for Hoopla, which I thought was astounding. This year, from January to now, we've circulated almost 9,000 items using our just this one database on our e-resources. So people are really utilizing this service, which is fantastic. It's such a good service to have, and it's very, very popular. So I was so pleased to see those statistics and how people are using us.
We are too. Thank you. Julia.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
Regarding the e-content and what was it? It was Macmillan Publishing that wasn't releasing e-content to libraries. And I understand that Amazon doesn't release any of their publications to libraries either. Is there anything else going on with that?
Well, there are some publishers that delay what we're able to have access to on Overdrive.
Right.
There are, is it 4 or 5 publishers that that don't put out their new stuff right away. Hoopla is a little bit different database. We would still be operating within those restrictions, what the publishers allow us to have access to through these databases. But Hoopla is kind of, you have access to their entire database. And this one, unlike Overdrive, you don't have to wait for things. There's no holds lists. At least using Hoopla 1.0, there's a new model that we're investigating, which would add on to that. So we might be able to get some of those other publications that are a little bit newer, but we are restricted always with e-resources from what the publishers allow.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I just hope people are working on it and, you know, negotiating with them. So
Oh, always.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, let's go to Julia with the Children's Department.
All right, so as Jen said, I think the reopening is kind of the big story for us. During March, we really worked to rearrange our department somewhat. We had to put all of the things from the pop-in back into our collection. And it was kind of nice to have the opportunity to sort of get things in the right spot and arranged in a way that'll work a little better for our patrons, which we hadn't really been able to do since we opened, and our collection has grown a lot since then. So that was our major project for March. And I think programming is the big question we're getting from patrons. So we are working on continuing some of our virtual programs, as well as planning some things for the summer, both take home and also in the park. And we have a program coming up with the DEC next month, an educational program where kids can take home tree saplings. So that should be fun.
Okay, good. Good, thank you. Todd? Is Todd with us?
He is, he's just unmuting.
Okay, sorry, my fat fingers can't get the button. Unfortunately, we're still closed, but I'll give you some update of what's going on. Our virtual programs are going gangbusters still, as I say every month. Our blog, we put out 11 new posts in March, and we had over 2,500 views of that, and people read those blogs just in March. Our YouTube channel, we had over 4,600 people view our videos in March. And our Facebook page, are part of the library's Facebook page, we put out 24 posts and had 4,600 plus engagements for that and 366 shares. So we feel like we're still reaching, over 10,000 people a month, which is nice. But we're also planning ahead for when we can open. And I think I mentioned last time I was working on a new exhibit. It's finished. The exhibit's called Crafts of Saga Japan, 33 years of gifting from our sister city. And it's an exhibit of all the different crafts that visitors have given to the library over those 33 years that Glens Falls has been a sister city with Saga City. We're looking ahead with the children's department to reboot the Shutter Squad camera, photography workshop with Folklife and the children's department. So we're getting ready to get that going again. And we're working with Jeremy, the building manager, to perhaps create an outdoor performance space in front of the library. So when we can do some distance outdoor programming, we'll have a place to actually, have bands, have storytelling, have readings, those kinds of things that we don't have to set up and take down every time. And that Richard Bloomer glass plate negative collection we have, this isn't about the future. This is really about right now. Kevin Rogan is going full guns on that. And we estimate there's about 6,000 of those glass plate negatives from Richard Bloomer in Hudson Falls, early part of the 20th century. He's already processed 500 of those slides, cleaning them, scanning them into a database, creating a database where you can look up names and dates and subjects and all that kind of stuff and see a little thumbnail of the slide on a computer. So that's, he has 500 of those 5,000 or 6,000 slides already processed, which is, I think, an amazing job. And he's done a series of blog posts, when he finds something interesting to do. And then the last thing that we're at the moment planning for, we just had a major meeting with Tawny Center up in Canton about that, the Folk Arts All Around Us exhibit we have up there through the end of October. They're going to have a reception and a folk art festival, save this date, Sunday, September 19th. It's going to be an in-house event where I think it's going to be their first in-house event is the plan. And we're going to host about a dozen local artists, folk artists, to go up to Canton and demonstrate their crafts, and then have a wine and cheese and hors d'oeuvre kind of reception up there at Canton. So we're really looking forward to that. That'll be exciting. So that's what I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Todd? Okay. And then we have Jeremy with us. Or we're going to have Jeremy.
Did you want to catch Michelle for development first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I missed her. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hello, everyone. So the past month has really, most of our focus has been on the reopening signage and the PR around that. which we did get a lot of nice PR around reopening, so that was exciting. And then working on the annual report. So we had an unexpected leave in my department, so that ended up falling on me. So I'm sorry it doesn't look as pretty as it does in other years. I did my best. And next up on our plate is researching new foundations to reach out to. So you'll hear a little bit more about what's going on with the building shortly. And just in case we need it, I just figured I would start researching grants and seeing what we can apply for different things.
Okay, good. We have your report with lots of detail too. Any questions for Michelle? Okay, now we want to talk about the roof.
Yeah, before Jeremy gets to that, I'm just gonna add with the facilities, the integral LED lighting is completed, if not for a light bulb or two, and the electric and gas NG contracts begin May 1st. So I will keep you abreast at what savings we will be accruing starting on Saturday. And Jeremy, you have the floor, sir.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hello, everybody.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have you here, but what you have to talk about is not real good.
Correct. Unfortunately, I wish it had been taken care of years ago. It fell into my lap that there's a few leaks in the building that have been going on for a few years now. And this past summer, we tried to do some in-house repairs, thinking we got it, and unfortunately, we're not able to get to it. So I reached out to a few contractors to see what they think for roofing, if they think the whole roof needs to be replaced, if there's just sections. So I've been working with this one roofing company out of Argyle called Carruthers. And I met with them last Friday and we did some test holes into the actual roof. We actually tested a spot that we didn't think would be wet because it's one of the higher spots on the roof. And it was the insulation board that's underneath the roof was totally saturated, which is not a good thing.
Right.
And it is right around where the skylight is on the old building roof. It was all redone back in 07, 08, but it's still an issue to this point. I'm hoping that we can get this fixed because I know most of you probably haven't been in the building in quite a while, but there is some major roof leaks with some plaster work that would need to be repaired on the inside and the stairwell of the Park Street and all that. And it's quite the eyesore. So I think it's time that we really try and get this fixed the right way so we don't have to worry about this again for a long time. So after speaking to Carruthers, they suggested that we reach out to another company called Roof Scan, which they use thermal images and they test the entire roof section of the building. It will detect if there's any moisture under the thermal roofing. So if that determines that there's moisture, then we know that that is an area we need to concentrate on instead of trying to just cut the roof, open it up, and either find that it's dry or find that it's wet. They suggest with our situation, this is the best way to try and determine how big of a problem this really is instead of just cutting everything open. I did get a quote from the company just actually today that they finally got back to me with a quote. It's going to be about $1,400 if we want to go with just the Park Street, or I'm sorry, the old building, if you will, that roof, or it's $1,800 to do the entire roof of the entire building. So they said that it might be in our best interest to go with a little bit extra and do the whole roof and be done. But I just wanted to put that out there that it's something that we do need to look into.
I will add to Jeremy, the one leak it's been leaking as long as I've worked here, and it's almost 20 years now. And Todd, who's been here longer, may know if that leak that was above the old children, the old board meeting room was leaking for longer than that. I'm not sure. And some of this other leak seems to be affiliated with the not so new construction. We have gone through construction documents and warranties on the roof and all that, and it appears that it's past warranty. But we've also been in contact with the architects about it as well. So there may be some more information coming on that end of things.
So
A shingle roof?
It's a flat roof.
It's a flat roof, rubber roofing?
Yeah.
And
So
the skylight was, go ahead.
Louise.
I was just gonna, the skylight was put in 2007, you're saying, or was repaired?
No, the skylight is
the original.
I understand they lifted it off, resealed. When they redid the roof, they sealed up underneath it. And for whatever reason, in that section is where it seems to be leaking. But if anybody's familiar with how water runs on a roof, I mean, it could be running from 10 feet away and just following the channel down and then just hitting its lowest point and dripping through the ceiling.
It looked in the picture like you have access to above the drop ceiling to see some areas where water's coming in.
Yeah, so we have a return grate that's there in the ceiling that I took down. Unfortunately, you can't crawl across there because it's all hard sheetrock ceiling, but it's on a grid, so you can't put any kind of weight on it. We'd have to cut that all open to really see up in there. But I'm thinking that the scan might give us a better idea without having to do any more major construction on the inside.
And the scan you said for the whole roof, new and old roof, is 1,800?
Correct. And
it sounds to me like that's the way to go. I mean, I can't imagine that we wouldn't, you'd hate to concentrate on the old roof and think you had the problem solved, and then all of a sudden something came back.
So I like to ask the question, how old is the new roof? 15 years now?
Yes. Yes.
And so is it the same? Is there any signs that we're having leaks in the new roof right now?
So
the newer part of the building.
The entire roof was all redone in 07, 08.
Right.
When the expansion was put on.
Yes.
There is no new roof, old roof. It was all
because we went straight up.
Correct. Everything has a brand new roof on it, and for whatever reason, the old building section of the roof, if you were to take that corner of it, if you can visualize that, that's where it seems like all the leaks are coming from.
Just out of curiosity, I know the flat roofs are very difficult to maintain and is notorious for leaks. Is there any drains up there to draw water away? Like we have, I don't want to say gutters, but is there any type of drainage? Is there drainage so that water, when snow roof, snow pack and everything else, is it able to egress through a drain or something?
Yes, there in that one section of that old building is 4 roof drains. And we do have one roof drain. In one of the pictures I sent Kathy, there you couldn't see it obviously because it wasn't a video, but there is moisture around the one roof drain.
And what are they constructed? Are they metal? Are they plastic? The drains and stuff? Old galvanized?
Yes.
So they're subject to being maybe 80 years old, could be bad too.
Correct. It's wrapped in insulation. And you can't see anything other than the insulation, but it doesn't appear that there's any water dripping from it, because you can literally, up in that hatchway, you can literally see 20 feet of it, and it doesn't look like the insulation itself is wet. You can actually see it dripping right where it meets the roof, and at that point, what they do is there's long bolts that go down through, and it kind of squishes from the underneath to the top. And they put a mastic inside there. And at some point, sometimes that mastic breaks down and needs to be replaced. The roofers, the two roofers I talked to so far said that that definitely is one of the issues, but they don't think that that's the whole issue because it's different sections where we're having the issue.
Okay, so with going back what Barbara was saying, I agree, probably doing the whole roof to get a good picture what's going on is excellent, is an excellent idea. And it's going to be, and with the newer style, the newer end is 15 years. That's where things start having problems. So I think I would recommend with Barb that we go that way.
If I could just, Kathy, you mentioned that you or Jeremy contacted the architects. I assume it's Butler, Rowell and Mays. Is that?
No, the architects were JMZ.
Oh, okay.
And Beha were the principals, and they're out of Boston.
Okay.
But the other thing we haven't done yet is Pike was our construction management company.
Oh, so you're talking about who designed the building.
Yeah, but they were also charged with overseeing the process of the construction.
Yeah,
along
and
with Pike.
I mean, like Reed said, 15 years, you're going to start having issues.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering.
But the original building has always had some issues.
Right, but I guess my thing right now is, and I think Jeremy's doing the right thing by talking to the roofing contractors and I think I agree the scan is a no-brainer. I've been through enough roof projects to know the only way you're going to figure out the extent of the damage is to do the scan. But I'm just wondering, you know, after the scan is done, you know, first of all, I don't know what our policy is on as far as bidding goes, depending on the size of a project. But I'm thinking at some point we're going to have to get an architect involved because I'm betting this is going to be a fairly large ticket once we get into it.
This will definitely require an RFP, you know, the whole ball of wax. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just wondering if it'd be better to get an architect involved earlier rather than later. Just saying.
Possibly, yeah. Well, probably after the scan, so there's at least something to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, we should definitely go ahead with the scan, but you know.
And then once we have the results of the scan, get the appropriate people, which John's suggesting, including the architect, Pike, you know,
yeah,
the
I mean,
subcontractors, whatever.
This is going to be big.
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't just throw a patch on something. This is going to be quite a project. I couldn't even give you a ballpark. I actually asked the contractors if they had any kind of an idea, and they're like, we don't even want to throw any numbers out because we have no idea. I mean, we could be pulling up some of this and we find some more wetness, and you know, we don't want any of that insulation wet at any point in time. So
I'm shocked that a rubber roof is not expected to last more than 15 or 16 years, because from what I'm understanding, a new roof was laid across all of the buildings in 2007. So I'm sorry, surprising to me that you would expect, I mean, it sounds like everybody's talking like we're going to have this huge roof repair. The roof is only 15 years old.
I think it depends on the quality of the roof that you installed.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, it's crazy.
And just to put it into perspective for you guys, I've measured the old building section of the roof, and it's about 100 feet by roughly 60 feet. So that's, you know, and hoping that that's all that it is, you know, that we have to repair. But that's the section that I have a feeling it's coming from. So, you know, just to put it in perspective.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You had said before, I heard someone said there is no warranty or it's beyond the warranty.
Yes.
What was the warranty?
10 years.
So I gotta ask, if it was leaking for 20 years around the sky, why wasn't something done 15 years ago?
You got a point there, Reed.
Who would have been responsible for that, Kathy?
Not me.
Well, wait
It
a
would be
second.
under Christine McDonald's direction
But then how long have you been the director?
since 2013.
Okay, and it was leaking in 2013?
We've had multiple repairs to the one spot that leaks. We have patched it at least 3
Well, what you're
separate
saying is that
times.
no warranty work was done.
It
You're
was
just
out of
saying repairs
warranty.
were being done, but no warranty work.
At the point that the patches were made, it was out of warranty.
Yeah, a rubber roof would last about 50 years. I'm surprised you only got a 10-year warranty on a rubber roof.
Well, we certainly,
What was approved, I presume.
yeah, I can't
But
really address
those are
that question. Yeah,
Those are questions we can ask Pike and
yeah.
Beha, you know. Go back.
So, because when we did the architect work, it was supposed to be properly done and constructed, so to be done, deal with a flat roof. Not to say that flat roofs are easy, they're challenging, I know that much.
Now, am I not correct that, just for my own, the roof on the addition is up here and the roof on the original building is, I don't know.
Well, there's
6
kind of the highest
below
one, then the addition, and then the original. It's kind of stepped.
Okay. Okay. And we did get work done on the skylight when the renovation of the old building was done concurrently with the addition.
And at some point in time, there have been some caulking done to the skylight post renovation for just here and there, not the whole thing.
Mhm.
Where I guess there were, you know, we could see that there were at least 2 colors of grout along the edges, but
Mhm.
I can't tell you exactly when that was done.
Okay, so do we need a motion to proceed with the thermal, or is that just part of maintenance? We're approving the expense.
Right now, the expense is under the need for a motion, but in case there's something else involved, I'd like if a motion was made to, you know, say up to, what do you say? In the worst case, Jeremy, 2,000, 3,000, if they decide that they need to, I don't know, knowing nothing about the process.
The contract that he sent me, that we would have to send back to them saying, yes, we would want to move forward with this. It says 1,400 for the old building, if you will, and then 1,800 for the full building. He's saying that that's not going to change. Those would be our only 2 options. He's not making it seem like it's going to be any different than that.
So up to 2,000 then would be safe. Give us some wiggle room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if you need a motion, I'll make that motion.
okay,
Not to exceed $2,000.
Correct.
I'll second it.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we'll be waiting for step 2 after the, do you think it'll happen fairly soon, Jeremy?
He told me if I could get him an answer tonight or tomorrow, he thinks he can put us on the schedule for the end of next week.
Okay, good.
Great.
So depending on obviously weather, he said that he likes to rather do it with no rain within a couple days of doing it, just to help.
Right.
But you know,
Yeah. Well, we'll all keep our fingers crossed.
and Kathy and I will keep you guys updated as best we can as we move forward with this.
Okay, thank you.
Now Jeremy's got to go move the buckets because it's pouring out right now.
Actually, I'm on a staycation this week, so.
Oh.
Yeah, he is one dedicated facilities manager. So
So you're moving the buckets, Kathy?
I'm ordering people to.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, guys.
Unfortunately, the leaking is much more insidious than needing buckets all over the place. There's only one spot that actually needs a bucket, and that's not every rainstorm either. So there. Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, Friends report. You're gonna report for Kathy?
Yes, very briefly. She and the Friends will have a children's book sale out in the park concurrent with likely the summer reading kickoff or one of the early events. The Friends were reluctant to do any sales this year, but they've changed their mind a bit. They're still not taking discarded items. That may come later this summer as we progress to opening more and more to the public. That's it.
Okay. All right, now we progress to minutes and treasurer's reports and things. So we all received the minutes of last month's meeting. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second? Second?
Oh, Amy has seconded.
Okay, all right. All in favor of approving the minutes of the March meeting?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report. Is
All
Stephanie?
right.
Oh, John?
I'm gonna take a shot at it this month.
Oh, yeah, John, you can do that.
Revenues, we've received 68.8% of our budgeted revenues. We were through 25% of the year. Highlights, you'll see that Glens Falls pays us in 2 payments, so we are still awaiting the second payment of $468,000. That's due in September. And then I'll ask later for a budget modification. The Glens Falls Foundation, we had not budgeted much, thinking that we weren't going to get too much this year, and we received $4,500 additional. So that's revenue. And then expenditures, we are at $1,070,000, which is 21.9% of our budgeted. And again, we're at 25% of the fiscal year. Another budget modification is for Cobra and the FSA. So if you look at the last page of the report, Glens Falls Foundation, Stephanie is proposing to put that into contingency, and for the FSA and Cobra from the professional fees and the claims auditor. So if you have any other questions, Stephanie can answer them.
Okay, do we have any questions, or in lieu of that, a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Amy has moved.
And second?
I'll second it, Barb.
Okay. Actually, that sounds good, Reed.
Okay.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we have the claims audit report.
Oh, is that me again?
I think so.
Oh, the claim, there were no discrepancies.
Okay. Okay,
And the new claims auditor seems to be working out great.
okay. Motion to approve the claims auditor reports.
See Diane's hand,
In a second,
Claire's second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We go on to committee reports. Tia?
She was unable to join us today.
Okay. So there was, is there someone who's going to speak for her?
You can read it if you'd like.
Yeah, I just gotta find it. I know there was one.
Right at the top of the second page.
I'm getting there. Oh, hang on, I'm on the wrong agenda. Now I'm on the right agenda. Okay, there's one item under personnel, acceptance of the resignation of Mary Carol Woods. She's a page effective April 27th, which is yesterday. Mary Carol has worked at the library since July of 2017. All those in favor? Or could I have a motion to accept the resignation?
Okay, Louise moved.
I'll
Second,
second it.
Reed second.
all those in favor of accepting the personnel report?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And Sal's report. Margaret? I don't know if Dale's there.
She is not with us this evening.
Okay.
Okay, Sal's, we had a meeting last week. May 17th is their annual meeting. And the other thing of note was that as of May 3rd, they're stopping the delivery quarantining of library items because it's been proven that COVID is airborne and not tactile. And it's so that will help deliveries and get things going again as they were. And that's about it, other than you know, talking about the state budget and the library acts in Washington. And I hope you've all done your due diligence and, you know, contacted your state legislators or Washington legislators to, you know, make sure that they're on board with all of this great money that's coming towards libraries in the near future. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And a reminder that anyone can go to the annual meeting for Sal's. It's virtual.
Yeah, it's a virtual meeting, so yeah.
And we all, I know I have gotten the invitation. Does that go to all the board members?
I believe it has.
I haven't seen it, but I would think so. Everybody's invited.
Yeah, usually at least the in the past, I think everyone's gotten one.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So
I
somebody
know
double
they have
check
your
that.
email
I've seen it.
addresses.
I've seen it twice. I saw the original one and then recently a reminder. But I don't know if I'm getting that because I'm, you know, are other people seeing those? Margaret, you said you haven't?
I don't remember getting in, no, other than talking about it at the Sal's meeting. No, I don't remember getting it. Did anybody else get an invitation?
Barb, do you think that what you got was the Sal's invitation to go to the virtual meetings for planning? Because I got a couple of those and there was a reminder.
I got those too, but I
Okay,
definitely
it's a different
got
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can ask Sarah if they
Right.
sent to all the trustees.
Yeah, and if not, we should forward ours out or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're to the director's report.
Okay, well, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to be pretty brief. If people looked at my report, you might laugh at my bragging that CERC was up for March of this year versus last year, knowing that we were closed half a month last year. But when I did the proportional increase, we were still up this year, so I'm proud of us. I want to talk a little bit about a mandate the state library has given to first central libraries and secondly to all libraries, that we resume our mandated hours by June 1st. We will be able, and we're at 42 hours open to the public now by June 1st, given current COVID conditions progressing nicely in the fact that, you know, vaccines are up, cases are stable, if not down in some ways. We will be able to meet that 55 hours a week, will probably be 56. We have a meeting Monday with the department heads where we'll hash out some details. Let's see, we are looking to also, between now and June 1st, start offering some seating in the library. Folk Life will be able to resume with extended hours. We're gonna nail down that next week. So it's sort of, we're in the process of making it finally happen where it really will be able to be more of a full service library than we've had for the last year. The only thing that we will not be initiating right away will be indoor programming. We will have programming outside, as Todd alluded to earlier, and certainly Julia has mentioned. And another thing that will be making our life easier here is, as of May 15th, given current conditions, we'll be able to have 75% capacity in our office spaces. So we won't have to play musical chairs all day to ensure the safety of our staff. As far as the action items, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. The only one I wanted to touch on was the joint automation project. I sent what I think is a second release of it to you with highlights of the changed language. It's pretty much a boilerplate thing that we sign off on every year. This allows us to use the Polaris library system to get support for our IT programs and staff help with our IT staff. It's the only thing that's a little strange. The rest is just people going to conferences or meetings. And the legal notice for our opening in Queensbury.
There's only one.
There's only one.
Okay.
And I have spoken to a board member, and she would most likely be running again.
Okay. Okay, so we need a motion to approve director's report items 1 through 5 as presented.
John moves and Elizabeth seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Thank you all. And I will send you the signed JLA.
Perfect.
At the meeting.
Can I ask a question? I'm just curious, and maybe I'm off base and nobody else agrees with me. We seem to always approve these conference requests. If we have a certain budget for conferences, and you're within that budget, is it in our policy or something that we have to approve every conference request?
I think the language is there, John.
Okay.
You have
Couldn't
to
we
dig
do
a little bit.
Kathy, couldn't we do this in the organizational meeting? Get them all approved at the organizational
Well, we
meeting?
do. I mean, if you remember, there's a laundry list of
So then
things
if we've
we
already,
approve.
but since we already expressed those budget line items and they're already in the budget, why do we, it's already done then?
But some of these aren't in that. Some of these have cropped up since that
Okay,
point in
Oh, okay.
time.
all right, that's
That
fine,
makes
but
Okay.
And the other thing is, we always do anything with overnight travel. We always do a secondary approval, or 99% of the time, just to make sure it's on the,
Okay.
transparent.
Just, you know.
Yeah.
And and also now we plug in actual names and fees, which may not, we
Yeah.
may have estimated. So it's a
Yeah.
little more specific.
It's
I
not,
think it's probably-
raise it above the budget line or anything like that. It's just
Yeah,
specificity.
I just figured if we authorize a certain amount for conferences and
Yeah.
you're within that, but that's fine, whatever.
Well, and it's also, tongue in cheek within the board's right, if people, decide their conference is in Hawaii, to have some red flags and have a conversation about that. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I just, yeah, it's good.
Okay. Old business. Mike Toomey, any news for us?
We don't have any candidate to put forward today, but there are 3 individuals that are we're discussing. So we should have something hopefully by next month.
if you don't have something, Mike, shouldn't we put something in the, get a press thing out in the, if now we've already gone 4 months that
Well,
we've had no action in this.
Yeah, well, I would rather give a little bit more time. We had one individual that would have been a very good candidate and just kind of wasn't able to go forward with it. But I would rather just do it this way and let the committee bring, discuss the individuals and bring a name forward so the entire board can determine.
And Mike, if I understand, you've been in conversation
Yes.
on and off these past 4 months. It's not like it's been
Yes.
operating in a vacuum read.
No.
Well,
we've had
I've listened to some of the comments Mike made in previous times, and it does seem like he has nobody on any discussion with anybody. And now we've all of a sudden 3 names that popped up in this month, and we're in February and I think maybe March, we didn't have any names.
No, they were there. It was the discussions that were delayed, I believe. So, okay. We will eagerly await hearing from you. And finally, strategic plan, Kathy.
Yeah, let me give you where we're at. Got responses from just about everybody on the community resource plan that I sent out to the ad hoc strategic planning committee. I'm cross-checking those responses with the responses from other people that were sent the plan. What happens next is there are 5 categories on that, and I've asked everyone to give 3 top picks from either individuals or institutions, companies, areas that were named in this resource plan. I will cross-check all those recommendations. They're due back to me by this Friday, and we'll send out something called SOAR. It's a, exercise that stands for, and I thought I had it memorized and I don't, so just 1 second. It is strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. It's a little different than that time-held SWOT analysis. And then once that comes back, or not comes back, but simultaneously, I will send the SOAR analysis To all board members, some of you have already received it because you're on the ad hoc committee. And this is all going through the process that Erica from SALS is leading. There's a landscape survey in process, which looks at our demographics. It looks at some of our numbers, and when I said our demographics, I mean the region, the community, our 3 tax districts paying entities. And once that's all crunched, it gets compared, not compared, it is shared with the folks that are coming from that cross-check community response. And that next step will bring these small groups together, or sometimes one-on-one situations, to solicit community aspirations. And this is where we get to talk to our community, see what they want from us. Not just, it's not a question of asking, what library services do you want? It is more of a, what do you want for our community? Once we kind of flesh that out a bit, then it becomes more of a discussion of, oh, we want a more educated community. So then we throw resources at our materials that are in that venue perhaps, or our programming becomes more educational maybe versus, and entertainment. It kind of depends on the answers. It's a conversation. This whole planning process is designed to have a conversation with the community and not come from, this is your library and we're telling you what you need from us. And I think that's what the beauty of it is going to be when we have our finished plan. So we're just, it's taking longer because all of this is remote. You can't just call a meeting and have people come together, but it looks like pretty soon we'll be able to do that. So that's where we're at with the planning. I know it's pretty vague. My explanation is kind of all over the place a little bit, but we're keeping on track with it. I'm just, as everybody is busy, sometimes some of the responses have trickled in at a slower rate than I'd like. Any questions?
Okay.
Yes, I do. I was waiting. I think also that we should also, as a board, is maybe think about possible services that the public isn't aware that we could possibly be able to provide that they don't know that we could do. I think they might have one idea, but we should maybe give them things that it's possible that other libraries throughout the country might be doing that are more forward thinking or a little bit more progressive than what we have been. I think there's things that, in my opinion, we're not exploring. We're just totally depending on the public. And I think we as a board need to see what's possible, what we can do, and be a little bit more forward thinking than just looking for responses from the community. Not that that's a bad thing, that's good, but I think we should start thinking of things that what's possible that our library can do for our community also.
I hope that's exactly where we end up, Reed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? New business? I don't have anything. So as we don't know yet if Zoom meetings are still in for next month.
Right now they're extended, but not to the date of our next meeting. I would love if we could meet in person next month in our community room. But I think we'll probably be able to, but we'll keep you posted. But the date and time will be the same. It'll be May 26th at 4:30.
Right. Okay, thank you all. Enjoy. Hope the roof doesn't leak more. And
it'll be
we'll
fine.
stay tuned for that. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye all.
Goodbye.
Bye.